Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time with daily videos. Um, I just want to kind of share a little something with you is I know a lot of us are trying to figure out what exactly happened in this narcissistic relationship. We hear about gaslighting and ghosting and all these trends that these narcissists have. But I think one of the most telltale signs is just how quickly they go into new relationships. So maybe if you're starting out trying to figure out if you should date somebody or if you're looking back at the past with who you've been with, I think that's one of the most telltale signs. How quickly they moved on, how deep and serious the relationship was. Did they just start dating and then kind of looked at the dating pool, maybe went on a couple dates, it didn't work out, or were they all of a sudden in this full-fledged relationship that lasted years? That's the hardest part for me to comprehend is when you go through a relationship with somebody, there should be some mourning. You can be sad, maybe you go out to dinner or a movie with somebody, but usually you're just not into that yet. It might be time away and a distraction. If you end up falling in love with that person, it usually takes a little bit of time. And often it's just kind of like a rebound, just something to do, just to get your mind off of things. But the narcissist will have these long, full fledged relationships like they found the love of their life. So if you look at their history, um, they can have long-term relationships. Sometimes it takes a while for them to disintegrate, for the festering to start, the disease to progress within that relationship, because they do that love bombing and they get their fuel, so they continue that for a while. And eventually the other person starts being devalued and it starts out just really little. And we're people, we can let things go, certain little things like, why'd you say that to me that way? Like we're big people, we don't need to cry over it or question it, so we let it go. But then things just start to grow and grow and grow. And like I talked on one of my videos, it was kind of like how it took me a while to understand what they were talking about, mirroring each other, that the narcissist mirrors us. So during the love bombing stage, we're on top of the world, things are fantastic, but they call it the mask slipping, little things will slip out, and then it kind of devalues us and we react to that. So now that we're kind of down here, like what just happened, they bring us down here, we're being mirrored, and they let something else slip, so we go down again, and there they are mirroring us. And then all of a sudden we're just way off balance, not worth things to them. And if you've been watching any of these YouTube channels, I find it really, 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 really interesting how these self-proclaimed or or professionally diagnosed people with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, will honestly tell you, don't be with a narcissist. Like they are worldwide telling people, stay away from people like me. Stay away from people like me. And some of it might be like really cool. We're on YouTube, we got a lot of likes and followers. But the other part is, um, I don't mind people knowing who I am, but I never want to tell them, don't be my friend. So if you think about it, how in depth is that to worldwide proclaim, we are not nice people? I am not a narcissist, but those people speaking will say, I heard one say that we want you dead. And I think that meant dead inside. So they steal everything from you and they tell you how horrible they've been, how they'll continue to be horrible. So some narcissists know what they're doing, some don't care to reflect on what they're doing, but they don't want to change because all their needs are being met. And they will move on at the drop of a heartbeat. They do want to control the situation. I was engaged to one where he's like, well, before we do this, it has to be 51-49%. So that was our balance. So yeah, that sounds fair, right? But if he's always 51 and I'm 49, will I ever be able to make one decision? So it's not, we'll do 50-50. Sometimes it's your turn. And the things that they will say to you over time, looking back, you'll understand. It'll take a while to weed through all the lies, trying to figure out what was real, knowing how to evaluate the words that were said. But I had two narcissists, and one had said, I just don't love that way. I just don't love the way other people do. And I don't think I've ever been in love. But other times you're like, oh, you're my soulmate. And um, it just doesn't match up. And there's a lot of that gaslighting. They don't like to answer questions directly. They don't like to commit to things. If they do, a lot of times they don't follow through unless it's going to stroke their ego. Um, and I just found it really, really interesting how many will say, go no contact, don't talk to us. We'll probably do this. We'll probably blow your phone up. We'll probably do this. We'll probably freak out. We'll probably try to win you back. But if we do, then we're in our comfort zone and it's just going to get worse. Um, it usually doesn't get better. So they want a second chance and we give them a second chance. A lot of times that stretch of the relationship ends up being shorter. And it's kind of mind blowing how a lot of them do leave us and then they get engaged. And they're seeming so happy. And I find it really interesting how they keep talking about, yeah, they're posting on social media on how great things are. And if you sit and watch your ex on what they kind of do all that stuff, kind of proclaim how wonderful it is. They go above and beyond, trying to prove to the world how happy they are. I usually don't prove to the world whether I'm happy or sad. I might post a couple things, but I usually try to keep my life private. There are some times you have a great family reunion or something like that, or just a pretty picture. So you kind of want to show off your pretty picture, but usually um, it's not like a need to tell the world your personal business. Maybe if you won an award, that's okay to post. You're kind of proud of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And the other thing that's confusing about when we talk about narcissism, we talk about this grandiose persona. And a lot of times people think that they're the most handsome or most beautiful or the smartest or the best athlete. No, they just need to be the best jerk, the best abuser, the best person who can ignore. So they're going to outdo us on silent treatment. And the part that kind of hurts me is some of these narcissists are like, just go no contact, just go no contact. It is good to break away from a narcissist, but the part that hurt me the most, devastating, debilitating, was the silent treatment. So if you need to go no contact, it's up to you on how you do it. But I still feel true to myself that I never want to hurt somebody that bad. If I have to say goodbye, I should acknowledge them. A lot of them are saying, just block them, just block them. Don't respond to anything. But I hope that even if we're hurt, that we still respect the other person. It'll bring a better outcome. They might come to a realization like she's or he's serious about what they're saying. Um, but two wrongs don't make a right, in my opinion. So you can block them, you can walk away, but I would tell them, good luck to you. I'm going to block you and I wish you well. Um, I would never want to impose that kind of pain on anybody, whether they deserve it or not. Because the silent treatment is so damaging. Um, and I still want to be a good person, even if they weren't a good person to me. That's just how I see it. But they talk about how does no contact work with the person. And I've talked about in another video about manifesting and why that works with a narcissist, because manifesting is basically a concept where you just let go of everything. You just put it out in the universe and you believe everything's just going to happen. And my take on it, it just changes the way you talk. It just changes the way you talk. So if you really believe you guys are going to get back together, you're not going to be like, are you going to call me? When are you going to call me? I thought you were going to call me. You're just like, I can't wait to talk to you again. And it's just the way we talk. So I think that's kind of how it works. It does work with a narcissist because they crave attention. So manifesting is when you let go of everything and we're not trying anymore. Because in a sense, that kind of scares the narcissist. Like deep down inside, they have this subconscious feeling of not being worthy. And I've noticed through little words that they've said over time, or even kind of direct, that they do kind of feel um, entitled, not worthy. They know their faults. They know that they don't love like other people do most of the time. And so it's an uncomfortable situation for them. It's almost like they feel smothered, even if it's just a kind gesture. And a lot of times, the people we're closest to, we feel the comfort. That's our safety zone. That's sometimes if you have a bad day or you don't want to put on makeup or comb your hair or take a shower, it doesn't matter. This is my family, I'll take a shower tomorrow. But if you're going to be around strangers, isn't that weird how that works? You go around strangers um, and you get all dolled up or at least washed. But you're at home, you're relaxed, and that's how they treat us. Is it's kind of like you should take me for who I am. And if you were to mention something like, it's been a couple days, you want to take a shower, they take offense to it. Um, they just need to be seen in the perfect light at all times. And once you start saying something like that, it just, like I said, the mirroring, it just brings it down and down and down. And sometimes it's really hard to lift back up because think about it, things can drop really easy, really quick, but it takes a lot of effort to lift something back up. And they just don't want to put the effort in because all they got to do is just look around. It's just like if their car broke down and they had free reign to a car lot where they could get any car that they wanted. Just go ahead, you can borrow it for a week, don't worry about it. They might kind of like scan and look, and this one looks nice, this is the fanciest one, but if the tire was kind of flat, would they wait for it to get fixed? Nah, they probably just move on to the next one. It doesn't matter, it's just a car. Same with their new supply. If that one new supply needed a little tweaking, a little repair, or extra work to bring it to the top, it has more value. Um, but they just don't want to take the time. They do what's easiest. And if you think about it, like how quickly they get into a whole new serious relationship. And the relationships that do last a long time. It's not like a 3-month thing and they break up, unless they're so abusive or so transparent that the new supply sees it. But they are master manipulators and they know how to control the situation, how to trauma bond us, how to give us the breadcrumbing that they do. They first sweep us off our feet and then it's like breadcrumbing. Like, this is all the effort I'm putting into it. And we're trying to understand what just happened. They do use those words like soulmate. Raise your hand. Did you hear that? You're my soulmate. I can't wait for this and that. And they're talking about the future faking. Um, Mine had promised me something. Just hang in there for 2 years more than I told him I could take. 2 years more. But I had loved somebody that much that do you want to walk away from somebody or do you want to put in the effort when it's the love of your life? So you go through 2 extra years of crying already for a year saying, I can't take this. Can we, what's going on? Hold on. And then you get ghosted. And it's mind blowing. It's like, I just did all this stuff and you can't even acknowledge me. So you start crying, are you dead or alive? You don't want to talk to me? Give me an F off. I don't care what you say to me. Just let me know you're alive. They still, no matter how much you cry, no matter how much you plead, it's nothing to them. And it is soul draining. It's physically painful. Like like the pain I've gone through physically, like mentally I cry. I have my bad days, my good days, but the physical stuff overpowers you. Because I can cry, I can deal with that, whether it's a death, whether it's, who knows, loss of a job or financial problems, whatever. I can cry. I can have bad days. But the physical pain, I had even told him it's like you had the answers. And can you please just tell me, oh, will we talk again? I don't even want you to have to explain everything. Just will we talk again? And I had explained the way I had felt was He had the answers. All you had to do is say yes or no. We will or we won't talk again. I just invested all this time. Just, can we talk again? So you get ghosted. And I said, the pain is, to me, and I don't know about you, but the pain to me is as if I had a child that was missing. I didn't know if that child was alive or dead, the most important thing in my life. So I'm aching for this child. And I just want, like, if you know this child is dead, I I am going to be extremely sad, but at least I can grieve. At least I can grieve. Instead of having that empty, searching, desperate need for answers. And it is all consuming. I mean, think about that. If your child was missing and you want to like help your child, you want to find it. Same with the relationship. You want to help this relationship. And I had just said, this is how much it hurts. It hurts that bad. Will you just tell me if we'll talk again? Tell me you never want to talk to me. And they still ghost you. Like, that's how cold they can be. And that went from planning a life together to just instantly like, I don't want to deal with it. And all I was doing is saying, you know, what are we doing? Like, we've been talking about this forever. I have a ring on my finger. You talked to my dad about marrying me. What are we doing? And instantly just moved on, just moved on. Um, and I will be honest, I finally did get a reply, but it's to the point where you're like, I can't take this anymore. And that's when you get the reply. It's a control thing. Once they feel that they're losing that control, um, they'll kind of come around a little bit, but it's still that roller coaster and it's still without commitment. The person that they will end up being with is the one that brings them the most status. Usually for men, it's not so much the money. He definitely didn't need the money, but whatever brings the most to them. And unfortunately, a lot of people end up being demeaned or where they lose their friendships or they're told you can stay home and take care of the kids. They do that so you don't have money. It's like it is nice. You know, I was lucky. My ex, I have two exes. My ex was really kind, let me stay home with my daughter, and that is so appreciated. But it also took away all my means to leave. Luckily, I had a family to go home to, my parents. But a lot of people don't have that. And they get trapped in these situations. And that's real hard to climb out of. Um, so they kind of know what they're doing. They break down our social circles often. Sometimes they might feed off of our friends, but be really careful. A lot of times, cheating or even just emotional cheating can happen. And narcissists are known, whether they're faithful for a while, um, they're probably at least emotionally cheating to where their needs are being met. You know, you're sleeping, they'll go ahead and text. You're out of town, they'll go ahead and see some, whether it's snuggles or extreme intimacy, physical interactions. But it's really hard for them to stay faithful. How often they cheat is just how often they can get away with it. And that's pretty important to know. So sometimes you're like, yeah, like everything's fine. Um, but what if you had to go out of town? What if one of your parents were sick and you had to go take care of them for a while? And what's interesting is, what if you're sick? What if you're sick? How much do they help you? They might do a couple things here and there, but they might also get irritated. Like, geez, like, okay, I'll get you soup at noon, but you want it at 2 o'clock, and they're like, I'm busy, but you could be really, really sick. So they might hang in there for a little while. Um, but would they be there like when you really, really need them? And I don't know. Um, it's just really interesting. All the traits that are the same in narcissists. Everybody's different in this world. But the kind-hearted people have remorse. They look back like, man, like I really shouldn't have done that. We all make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. That happens in relationships. A lot of us have tried to repair our relationships. We go above and beyond, and they just take. They don't say, yeah, she's trying or he's trying. I should match that. Because if we both matched what each other was doing, can you imagine how great that would be? But it starts being too much from one person and you get tired and you ask for help, compromises. So you think you're on a even playing field. Like, okay, cool. Like I did all this and, can you just make dinner tonight? And then they like resent you. Like this was your job. This is what you were supposed to do. You took time away from me. And the selfishness that they have, the need for us to fulfill their every need, and the anger that they feel inside when we say no. And try saying no to a narcissist a few times. It doesn't usually go over well. There's some superficial things they might not care about, but whether it's intimacy for a while, you say no to it. They want to do this and you say no, or if something's too expensive, and you're like, this isn't in our budget, and you say, no, we really can't do that. Are they going to be like, yeah, we're going to do it? And they just disregard your feelings. And sometimes your feelings are even logical reasons where it's, we have to pay the mortgage. I know you want a dirt bike, but we have to pay the mortgage. And they're going to be like, it's been sunny out. We'll make the money somehow later, or it'll all work out. Um, so I just really want to say that we can help and heal each other. Please comment below on some of the things that you've been through. I'd love to help you through it. I don't mind personal interactions with you guys. I will answer your questions. But the gaslighting kind of is what the crazy making is that they keep talking about. Because a lot of us feel like, what happened? What happened to me? Like I used to be so happy and energetic, outgoing, and then it just kind of kills who you are. So you still have good days, definitely have some bad days, but how much it takes from your soul. It's really hard to understand what happened and how it just came to such an abrupt stop, and for them to move on and seem like they are so happy. There's no remorse, no regret, really no apology. A lot of times with the ghosting, they just instantly cut you off. And, maybe it would make sense if you go on 2 dates, a person doesn't like you and you reached out too many times. But a lot of us have been either married or in long term relationships, cohabitating together, and to just, whether they move out in the middle of the night and don't tell you. If they did that, maybe sometimes it might be for safety reasons. But a lot of times people would at least leave a note or give some recognition. Um, how they can do it so coldly without something eating at them. Nothing eats at them. They're like, I'm happy. Everything's great. Sorry it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. Why? It just didn't. Something else came along and I went with it. That was my quote. Something came along and I went with it in the middle of like a 17-year relationship. Just something came along and I went with it after waiting all those years. So I don't know. Um, it does drain your soul. It confuses you. It makes you feel like you're crazy because looking back on all the things, it's hard to decipher what the truth was. And it takes years of the interactions where you're like, wait, I thought this was the truth. Or, okay, so this is the new truth. And then later on, it's like this is the third truth and then the fourth truth of the same subject. And it does make you feel crazy. Like, okay, that was like 2 years ago. Did I remember that right? But when you go through it for so many different subjects and so many different things and over again and multiple times, and you try to ask questions and then they spin your head around, you're like, I just needed the answer. Um, now, what were we talking about? Or was that the correct answer? What am I supposed to pull from that? And they are masters of using the right words. And this is going to be not the best analogy, but it's kind of like if you're like, did you sleep with them? Did you sleep with them? They're like, no. I I would never do that. Well, yeah, because they were messing around. They were awake the whole time. So they know what we're trying to communicate, but they'll use little things like that. Like I would never sleep with them because they're like, yeah, we're gonna be up all night, and they know. They're twisting the words, the twisting the meaning. So it's really hard to communicate with them. They hide everything. They will provide documentation that is fake, that they draw up or pull off the computer to kind of prove certain things. They'll have other people lie for them. So it's really hard to get to a deep, true relationship with them. They love things to be superficial. Everything is fun. As long as things are fun, you're going to have a pretty nice relationship. But there's no depth to it. There's no depth to it. You don't know each other because they will not break down that wall. They don't want to see what's underneath. They don't want to feel what's underneath. So they try to, just like if you have a bad day, going to the amusement park, like, let's get my mind off this bad day. So you need something elaborate and exciting. And it's fun and exciting. You kind of forget about what's making you sad. But then when you get home, it's time to understand what's going on in your life. So they need that high um, fuel supply. They need to be on those roller coasters all the time because once they go back home, they have to deal with themselves. And they know who they are inside. They know that they're too scared to feel love. When they say they feel they're unworthy of love, look at some of the things they say. You know, um, it's sad. Like it, it's so sad because we have offered so much love to them, so much love, unconditional love. And instead of them soaking that up and having the most beautiful life, like they are so lucky for the love that you guys have given them, but they run from it. It scares them and they push you away. It's their defense mechanism. It's overwhelming to them. And they know what society is all about. So they give us the breadcrumbs because they know they're supposed to. They might go on family outings because they're supposed to, or they might get something from it. They might be like, wow, he's really doing good at his job, or she's really accomplished this. And they get their egos stroked. But a lot of times, if they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it. They'll only do it if it's a payoff, whether they're seen as extra kind or always the one that shows up and is the life of the party. And sometimes too, I'd like to give a little shout out to my friend who's been commenting. Yeah, it's not always about positive energy. It's just about energy. They need that fuel, whether um, they're the biggest jerk, they're just going above and beyond what is in societal realms of acceptability, or they will just be the best of the best, whatever it is, whether it's the best of um, being professional, or they'll get in that little poor me, I'm the worst person. And they'll say things like that. So we're, oh, you're not the worst person. You're so kind. And just think about this and that and how wonderful you are. And then, yeah, but I do this. And then you stroke their ego some more. So it's either poor me or look at how fantastic I am. So just feeding into their fuel supply. Um, it's kind of like for a relationship with them to work, you pretty much just have to always be that fun roller coaster ride. Don't ever go down in the dips. You got to stay high energy, and that is so exhausting. Because think about the last time you went to an amusement park. Like if you stayed on that amusement ride all day long and night and day for the rest of your life, you need some downtime. Um, because for them, it's thrilling all the time as long as their needs are getting met. Our needs are like, I'd kind of like to sit and watch TV on my couch, or I miss my cat, or I'd like to do this with a friend. Um, So the balance is so different between them. So please like and subscribe, comment below, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.